Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I want to chat with you guys a little bit about one of my fitness pet peeves, and that is leg day memes. Now, obviously, I'm someone who sees a lot of leg day memes because I have a large number of lifters, I have a large number of competitive power lifters, bodybuilders, strongmen, coaches, personal trainers all on my private Facebook. Right, I have a large number of fitness professionals as well as competitive athletes, several hundred probably on my private Facebook, and I actually check Facebook every day. So for me, I see all the memes, right? And one of the memes that I absolutely hate, and I really hate to see it from friends of mine, people I know who've started lifting or whatever, friends, family, things like that, because they will post them. And it's something a lot of novice lifters post, and it's the leg day memes, and it will always be talking about how they can't walk after leg day and all of this other nonsense. And to me, I find that counterproductive, and the reason for that is that it creates a lazy mentality and it promotes bad training practices. And people will say, well, why would you say that? Well, because I don't believe in low frequency squatting. I don't believe in things like leg days unless we're talking about an upper lower training like I do right now. But I mean, I still do some lower body work on my off days from lifting. But for me, I generally tell people, depending on what program you're running, you should be squatting a minimum of twice a week, which is what I do right now. But you guys have also seen me run 5 and 6 day a week squat programs where I literally squat to a max 6 days a week. And when you're doing squatting only twice a week, it's usually going to be a pretty large amount of volume, right? Something like some concurrent periodization, and where you might be doing upwards of 12 sets of squats on one of those 2 days. So for me, this entire concept of this leg day and this laziness that it promotes, that it's actually something difficult or something noteworthy instead of just normal training, that I feel like it creates a lazy mentality to training. Like, it actually gives this idea in a lot of ways that people should train like professional bodybuilders, and quite frankly, a lot of professional bodybuilders are extremely lazy in their training. They really are. They oftentimes have very little training knowledge. They're oftentimes quite lazy, and it's because the drugs allow them to be lazy, and in some cases the drugs force them to be lazy. Because when you are using $30,000, $40,000 worth of drugs a year that cause your muscles to grow faster than your connective tissue, if you train too hard, you get hurt. If you lift the heaviest weights you can lift, even for an 8 rep set, you get hurt because your muscles are way stronger than your body can handle due to the drug abuse. But that's not problems that actual real lifters and athletes and fitness enthusiasts have. They don't have the same problems these people do. And so these guys oftentimes have stuff like a leg day. But people need to understand that they're getting their muscle from their drugs. They're getting them from their drugs and their genetics. It's usually that combination. They don't have to train that hard. And I mean, a perfect example, if you're completely natural and you train your legs only once a week, it's going to take you forever to build any leg size or strength. And that's because after you train any given muscle in your body, even with a really high volume workout, it's only going to grow at most up to 48 hours. Muscles do not grow longer than that. So if you're only hitting a muscle once every 7 days, you're going to get, in a best case scenario, 2 days worth of muscle growth. And if you do so much volume that you're sore and you can't walk, you're probably spending most of that 2 days recovering. And if you're spending that 2 days recovering, you're not getting 2 days worth of growth. You might be getting a few hours worth of growth, half a day worth of growth out of all that training. And so it promotes training that is inefficient, ineffective, bad training practices. And then on top of it, it makes people afraid of leg days because it puts this big daunting thing on it. Like, people all of a sudden think that because they only do legs once a week and then they throw like insane amounts of volume at it, and then they get sore from it because they're training so infrequently, that it becomes a daunting thing, and it makes people want to be lazy. It makes them not want to do their leg days. It makes people make jokes about skipping leg day. When the truth is, if you actually were even remotely serious about your training, half of your training would be dedicated to your lower body, right? I mean, that's your baseline base building, you know. If your body gets equal amounts of training overall, the lower half of your body would get half your training and the upper half of your body would get half your training. I mean, if you were going to be realistic about it, right? That would be balanced training. Isn't that how you should be building your base? And I would say that some people, depending on their goals, like women, for example, might need to spend more than that. Women who want just a certain look should probably spend 80 to 100% of their time training their lower body. That should be, every day should be leg day. Why would they go to the gym and not do leg day if they're trying to get legs and a butt? So, and they don't care about having shoulders and all that stuff. I could make that argument. But back to the point. If you are doing it so infrequently that you're getting sore all the time, your training programming sucks. Your training programming sucks. And I'm saying that as someone who squats heavy every single week or does it extremely high volume, right? You guys see me routinely come in and do 10, 12 sets of squats on dynamic day, followed by like 10 sets of deadlifts, and then good mornings and glute ham raises and all that stuff, and then come around 4 days later and I squat to a max of some type with then back off work and everything else. That's how I train. Do you guys think that I get sore from that? Or when I was doing Bulgarian training, squatting to a max 5 or 6 days a week, I was coming in and putting 485 on the bar and squatting it 6 days in a row. I'm going to ask a serious question to people who are new to training. Do you think I got sore from that? Do you think that makes you sore? No. Rarely. Well, the Bulgarian can. You get, like, your IT bands get inflamed sometimes, like around the knee. Right? But your thighs don't get sore from that. Your hamstrings don't get sore from it. You don't get DOMs from doing that because you're conditioned to it. You're used to it. Usually infrequent training causes the most soreness, right? Or things like heavy eccentric loading or more volume than you can recover from. Well, let me ask you a question. If you're having to do all of your leg training in one day every week, you probably are doing a lot of volume, right? If you're doing 5 sets of squats, 5 sets of leg press, 5 sets of leg extensions, 5 sets of leg curls, and then 5 sets of lunges, you really think that's a reasonable amount of volume for one day? No, it's a lot of volume. If you haven't built up years of work capacity, that's probably more volume than you can really realistically recover from, right? And you're doing it all in one day, and then you're detraining in between. So you get really sore next time you do it. So you're usually combining at least 2 of the 3 things that cause leg soreness. And then complain because you can't walk, and the leg day memes all talk about it, so it must be normal. Well, it's not normal. And how many of the novice lifters out there, when I tell people that a person of average genetics on a healthy young man on a decent program should be able to squat 315 for reps at the end of their first year, they think I'm crazy. Or when I say that, the average healthy young man of average genetics on no drugs at a baseline strength is to get to a 400 squat, they say, no, there's no way. You mean all the way to depth? Like, yeah, perfectly normal, perfectly reasonable. That's without even going into powerlifting. That's not being a strength athlete. And if you think that's crazy, then I'm going to tell you right now that your training for your legs sucks. So how many of you guys can't even reach those easily obtainable goals? But you get sore and you have a leg day because the memes endorsed it and talked about leg day. So you're getting sore and you can't even hit basic training standards, the 1 year or 3 year mark, right? You can't even hit what's expected on an average strength training program. You can't do that. Well, I would suggest to you that your leg training sucks then. It's poorly written. Because you should be able to get to those numbers and very rarely get sore beyond your first couple of months in the gym. You shouldn't be getting sore. And you should have no trouble hitting a 315 squat within 1 year walking into the gym the first time. And doing it without getting sore after you train legs. The meme is enforcing laziness, bad training habits. And yes, it is lazy. If you only train legs once a week because you only get sore, because you get sore from it, you are lazy. It is enforcing lazy training. To actually not train legs at least once every other workout is pure laziness. And if it's because you're getting sore, it's because you're doing inefficient, poorly written, lazy training that's causing you to get sore. So yeah, leg day memes are one of my big pet peeves. I think that they are nothing but harmful. They're not funny. They promote laziness and they promote piss poor training programming. I'm going to state that again. They promote laziness and piss poor training programming. Because it's not that big of a deal to come in and squat heavy 2 or 3 times a week. It really isn't. It's no harder than coming in and doing some bench pressing. It's just another lift. Yes, it requires a certain amount of mental fortitude, but it becomes normal once you get used to it. Once you actually become a lifter, it just becomes your normal. Just like going and brushing your teeth, or getting up and taking a piss in the morning, right? It's not a big deal. But these memes and this idea behind it hypes it up to be harder than it is because people aren't recovering from it and they're programming it poorly and they're getting sore. And it is reinforcing the idea of lazy training combined with unnecessary soreness. And it makes people lazy and it makes them weak. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.